I'm Sandahl Bergman. The program you are about to see contains exercises harmful to your health depending on your physical condition.
What happened to Sandahl Bergman? It's almost like she disappeared into thin air. Movie watchers in the 1980s truly had it great, especially if you loved adventure and fantasy. Conan the Barbarian became a definitive name in the genre and sported a memorable cast to boot, led in part by the stunning Sandahl Bergman. So, why didn't we see her after that 1982 classic? And what is she doing today? Welcome, I am your host, Nostalgic Nick, with all these answers and more, including the way Sandahl's background as a dancer helped the film, and the very serious injury she sustained along the way. If you enjoy our deep dive, please give it a thumbs up to help the video circulate, and subscribe to our channel so you catch all our latest deep dives. But now, without further ado, let's charge forth. How tall was Sandahl Bergman? Before any reimaginings of old classics, Conan the Barbarian gave us one of the most inspiring female leads in the industry. Conan's love interest was, fittingly, probably the only person who could match his tireless fighting pace. And likewise, Sandahl was just as much of an athlete as an actress, almost more so when things began. You see, as she grew, Sandahl had the unmistakable tall, lean, and muscled figure of an athlete. When she was in her 20s, she moved to New York and channeled some of that skill through dance, even showing off her stuff on the elite stages of Broadway. When she began acting, it was far less glamorous, with just a bit of blink and you'll miss it role in How to Pick Up Girls. But even that's not totally accurate, because there was just no missing Sandahl. She just possessed that impressive presence. Sandahl grew to an impressive 6 feet even, except if you ask her, she'll tell you different. Sandahl would always say she was 5 feet 12 inches tall. Yeah, same thing, but the wording softened the blow just a bit. In her words, quote, "No girl should have to be 6 feet, but little did she know how successful her height would help make her." What movies did Sandahl Bergman play in?
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where Harlem sits? Putting on the Ritz.
It was actually Tommy Tune who discovered Bergman when she was indulging in her interest in acting. Now there's another esteemed career, with his background as a dancer, singer, choreographer, theater director, but most impressively, a 10-time Tony Award winner. Basically, to catch his attention meant Sandahl struck gold, and at just the age of 15. On top of that, Bergman also caught the attention of infamous choreographer Bob Fosse, and after she showed off her powerful control as a dancer in Pippin, they became business partners. So when it came time for Bob to assemble a cast for his film Dancin', he knew just where to turn and recruited Sandahl. This was one of a few pretty important gigs in her career. That's because the dancers in it were really put through their paces and were given barely any time for breaks between musical numbers. These incredibly high standards improved her skills and basically said to any other recruiters, "This lady's made of tough stuff to survive trial by fire." Next up, it was all that jazz that made sure everyone knew Bergman's name.
It's showtime, folks.
Probably the most sensational part was Bergman's famous appearance in the Take Off With Us dance number, which media outlets praised for its sizzling sensuality that seriously was unmatched. Bergman dancing in all that jazz was just what Conan director and writer John Milius needed to see she was right for the part, specifically because her background would give Valeria a ballerina's grace through the film, and also add a layer of grace to her fight scenes. And right he was, and maybe too right, since Bergman proved a little too irreplaceable for some scenes. What happened to Valeria in Conan?
I saw all that jazz, and I said, that is a Valkyrie.
If you dive deep into Conan lore, you'll find that these movies stem from the pulp sword and sorcery magazines, with the character created by Robert E. Howard back in 1932. In some of the pirate stories, Bêlit is considered a serious love interest for Conan, but the director liked Valeria better, and so her character was the only one they brought to life. With Arnold cast as Conan, Valeria had to match the 6'2" Austrian wall of muscle. So, in walked Sandahl Bergman with a glowing recommendation from her buddy Bob Fosse, and the full attention and support of Milius. The fact that no one could match these two titans made them memorable, perfect for their characters, and quite literally irreplaceable. Both Arnold and Sandahl had to do their own stunts because they simply could not find a stunt person out there that could believably stand in for them. These two were good sports about the challenge and the rigorous training that demanded. Both Bergman and Arnold did 2 hours of fight training for 3 days a week until they got it just right. But even then, Sandahl and Arnold would practice fighting each other during their free time. A sacrifice Arnold was willing to make because, according to him, he was so incredibly impressed by her. But of course there are risks to any stunt, and quite a few of the actors suffered from those. Yeah, including Sandahl, with some very scary results. During one fight scene, Bergman's finger was nearly cut right off. She was fighting an untrained extra who had been given a very real blade. The story goes that after that accident, instead of asking if Sandahl was okay, Milius yelled at her and said, quote, "Valeria would never let that happen." Yikes, harsh, and considering that Sandahl was basically Valeria in real life. On the other side of things, Arnold took a real bad injury to his knee after falling from a horse. He also lost out on the task of narrating the film because producers thought his accent was too thick. See, at this point, Arnold was a bit of a newcomer, and while Sandahl made a name for herself, she wasn't the traditional Hollywood starlet, so producers leaned into the star power of the supporting cast, loading the side characters with legends like James Earl Jones. Being this early into their film stardom also meant Bergman and Arnold had another surprising similarity. They were each other's first on-screen love scene. Arnold's memoir, Total Recall, shows that this was a pretty tense moment for him because of the script's demands and the idea of being judged by everyone on set for how they played things out. He said, quote, "I'd never done a love scene on camera and found it really strange. A closed set means that you can't bring guests, but you still have endless people looking on. The script supervisor, the lighting techs, the camera assists." He added, quote, "No one in acting class ever talks about what to do in a nude scene when you really get excited." He was also kind of bewildered by Conan being both a barbarian and a gentleman. He shared of their first time, quote, "It was hard to get in the mood because you don't have a chance to practice with your co-star. You just have to start mechanical and cold."
I'll be back.
Well, did mechanical and cold end up defining Sandahl Bergman's career from then on out? What is Sandahl Bergman doing now? Conan was, of course, a kingmaker for its leading lad and lass. We all know about what the Governator got into after the first film. But what about Sandahl? For her, almost literally back-breaking trouble.
Sandahl Bergman.
Bergman was awarded a Golden Globe, naming her New Star of the Year. It also helped put her on the map for more rough-and-tumble fantasy films, just as the sword and sorcery genre got its momentum. One of the biggest was when Bergman played the titular character in 1984's She, a post-apocalyptic film based on the aptly titled novel She, A History of Adventure, when once again she used her powerful physique and experience to sport a commanding presence as the matriarchal warrior queen, who both hinders and helps the heroes. Then, in a similar vein, she played the hateful, vile Queen Gedrin in Red Sonja, which also reunited her with Arnie. And then, finally, the love interest Spangle in Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Pump it, push it, feel it.
Outside of film, Bergman could be seen promoting the Firm workout video series throughout the 1980s, because getting backed by an Amazonian warrior queen is a pretty glowing endorsement. Even better than Suzanne Summers. She also added a handful of TV credits, including Moonlighting, which had a dance choreography scene, as well as Heart to Heart, Designing Women, and Murder, She Wrote. those mostly outside her usual wheelhouse of high-paced action and spell work. But 1997's Sorceress II: The Temptress would be her final foray into anything fantastical, and a 2003 role as a dancer and singing detective was the final time we saw Bergman on screen. Along the way, she fell into brief love with fellow actor Josh Taylor, who you may recognize for roles in Days of Our Lives and Beverly Hills 90210. But apparently, the soap opera drama bled into their romance because the two ended up divorced. Bergman is formally retired from acting, but true adventure fans know she still makes time to attend a few sci-fi fantasy conventions when she can. Her birthday is November 14th, 1951, so Bergman is 72 as of last autumn. I think just the right time to enjoy the quiet life in California after going on so many adventures. Sandahl Bergman became the face of an action hero unlike many others. An unstoppable force brought to life by an unlikely yet so very perfect star in the making. Her career since was just as shocking for how quiet it was, but we wouldn't want anything else but peace and happiness for this very remarkable woman. Alright, now it's your turn to take the mic. What was your favorite role of Sandahl Bergman's? Did any of you actually read any of the Conan books? And did I forget any interesting fact about Sandahl Bergman? Well, please get in the comments and tell us your thoughts. If you enjoyed our Sandahl deep dive today, please give this video a thumbs up to show your support. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss a memory. But most importantly, from all of us here at Do You Remember, we want to thank you very much for watching.